Guys, it's been over 10 days since Kendrick ripped Drake apart, no Diddy, all right, on that Metro Boomin and Future album, and Drake has not said a word. All he's done is post Instagram captions and sounded really upset and angry on his tour. Now, Drake is kind of backed into a corner here, and it's not looking too good for him. It's looking like he's going to lose either way, right? Because if he does respond to Kendrick, rumors are that Kendrick has another diss track already written up, ready to go. So if Drake does respond, Kendrick will just unleash on him and probably destroy him lyrically, right? But if Drake doesn't respond and doesn't say anything to Kendrick at all, every hip-hop fan will remember that Kendrick dissed Drake on the #1 song in the country, and Drake just let him do it. He didn't say a word back, right? So either way, it's a terrible look for Drake. Now, what I think Drake is going to do, which I really hope he doesn't, is I think he's going to shift the focus of this beef to mainly be about Future, Metro Boomin, Rick Ross, and anyone who he thinks he can compete with lyrically. So if you guys didn't know, Drake is not just beefing with Kendrick. He's also beefing with Future, apparently about some girl named Princess Diana. I could make another video kind of diving into that weird beef, but just know it's about a female, all right? They're beefing over a female. Him and Metro Boomin have also had some issues since 2022, and him and Rick Ross, this beef kind of came out of nowhere, but he's been taking some light jabs at each of these people. He walked out on tour to Future's song My Savages. He gave Rick Ross's ex-girlfriend private tickets to his show in Florida. So he's doing these little sneak disses, but they're really just aimed at Future and Rick Ross. He hasn't said anything directly or even indirectly in a response to Kendrick's verse. Now again, I think this is Drake trying to position or paint this beef as like a him versus the whole industry type of thing, because I really think that he thinks the only person he cannot compete with in the entire rap game from a technical rapping perspective is Kendrick. I think he knows he could go at Future no problem. He could go at Rick Ross no problem. Even a guy like Kanye. I think he could make a diss track really going at Kanye, but I don't think he has anything on Kendrick at all. And he just can't compete with him from a bar-to-bar perspective. So he's really trying to shift this and just throw subliminals at guys like Future, guys like Rick Ross or Metro Boomin, so he doesn't have to go against the lyrical monster that Kendrick is, because he knows he just can't. He can't win that. Now, this is a move he pulled in the past. If you guys remember the 2018 beef that he had with Pusha T, Drake did the exact same thing in that beef. Pusha T dissed him, and Drake came back with a diss track that 90% of the bars weren't aimed at Pusha T. They were aimed at Kanye. Now, what Drake did was he reframed this by saying, you know, Pusha T is signed to Kanye. He's like Kanye's protege. Why would I go at Kanye's protege when I'm so much bigger than that? You know, I sell so many more albums than Pusha T. My impact is on such a larger global scale than Pusha T's. I'm going to go at his boss. I'm going to go at Kanye. I'm not going to go at Pusha. And I think he did that knowing that obviously Kanye was an easier target. There were more things that Drake could diss Kanye about than he could diss Pusha T. But deep down, from a technical perspective, Pusha T can just outbar him like crazy, right? But Kanye can't. And it's the same thing with Kendrick. He knows that if he switches this beef or repositions it to be focused on him versus Future or him versus Rick Ross, he can go at these guys bar for bar and make diss tracks against them that are effective in hurting their reputations. But he can't do that with Kendrick. He can't make a more impactful, a more menacing, a more devious, calculated diss track to Kendrick than Kendrick can make to Drake. And he knows that. He knows if he goes at Kendrick, he's going to lose. So I really think he's repositioning all of this. Now, this isn't the first time that Drake has avoided beef with Kendrick. If you guys don't remember, in 2013, right before Drake dropped his album Nothing Was the Same, Kendrick had a verse on Big Sean's song called Control, where he dissed the entire industry, including Drake, saying that he can murder every single rapper in the game, saying he's better than all of them, and saying he wants to take their entire fan base. Now, again, this was right when Drake was putting out Nothing Was the Same, so he was doing interviews, trying to talk about the album, but everyone just kept asking him about that Control verse and how he felt about it. And you could tell he was really upset and aggravated and disappointed that Kendrick would go at him like that, especially so close to his album release date. But if you look throughout the next 10 years, from 2013 to 2023, Drake has never directly dropped a diss track against him. All he's done is drop a couple subliminals, and really he's tried to patch things up with Kendrick. So even though he was kind of upset over that Control verse and Kendrick was taking a direct jab at Drake, calling him out by name in that Control verse, you know, all Drake did was cry about it in interviews, and then tried to patch things up by sharing pictures of him and Kendrick on his Instagram, commenting on posts that showed how well Kendrick's album was selling. He was really making an obvious effort to patch things up against Kendrick. And why would he do that when all Kendrick did was, you know, go at him and diss him? Why would he do that? Because he knows he can't compete toe-to-toe against Kendrick. So my prediction is, unless Kendrick comes back with a full-blown diss track against Drake, Drake is going to stay silent on this. He's going to shine more light on his issues against Metro Boomin and Future, and not really speak on anything Kendrick related. And if it hasn't been obvious in the last 10 days with all the Instagram captions and sneak disses on tour and stuff like that, it's pretty obvious that, you know, Drake doesn't want smoke with Kendrick. He wants none of that. And he hasn't wanted it for the last 10 years since Kendrick dropped that Control verse. And really, it was the same thing with Pusha T too. Drake knows he's not in top shape lyrically. And he knows that when Pusha T went at him, he had to reframe that beef and make it seem like it was more of an issue between him and Kanye West, because he knew bar for bar he could go up against a guy like Kanye. Whereas because he knew he probably couldn't compete on the same lyrical level as a guy like Pusha T. Now, it's the same situation with Kendrick. Drake knows that this issue right now is between Future, Metro, Kendrick, and Rick Ross. So he's gonna just eliminate Kendrick out of that picture completely. So in my opinion, any response he makes will be more focused on responding to guys like Future or Rick Ross or Metro Boomin, guys who he's not afraid of competing toe-to-toe with on a lyrical level, guys he thinks he can actually probably beat in a rap battle. More importantly, guys he probably has more dirt on than someone like Kendrick, because he really doesn't have much to say about Kendrick, at least from what we know publicly already. All in all, Kendrick would probably be the hardest target in the entire hip-hop game for Drake to take down on a lyrical level. And I'm sure Drake knows that. And that's why, in a way, he's kind of lucky that this beef also involves guys like Future or Rick Ross, because he can target his response more at them and shift the focus away from any sort of problems that he might have with Kendrick. And then if he doesn't respond to Kendrick, Kendrick won't really have much to say back at him. Again, this same thing kind of happened with Pusha T. Kanye was a much easier target than Pusha T. So when Pusha T dissed Drake, Drake's response was more aimed at Kanye than it was at Pusha. That way, he didn't have to engage in as much of a lyrical back and forth with Pusha and can kind of redirect the beef onto someone that he probably thinks he can actually beat on a lyrical level. But let me know what you guys think. I mean, it's been 10 days, right? I know Metro and Future are dropping another album in about 10 days from now. But do you think Drake will respond until then? Do you think he'll even respond at all? Do you think he's scared of Kendrick? Or is it all just coincidental that in the last 10 years, all Kendrick has done is throw shots at Drake and all Drake has done is try to be friends with him? Let me know in the comments and I'll see you guys in the next one.